All right, Arin Rockman H, back with another episode, back with another bonus episode of the Rock and Metal Faith Podcast, where music and faith collide. If you like hardcore Jesus rock and roll, or are curious as to what it's all about, you've come to the right place. From the classic bands to the up and comers and all those in between, we got them all right here. So come and join us. We will rock the hell out of you as we rock for the King. All right, like I said, we're back with another bonus episode. For those who are new to the bonus episodes, are new to the program, I usually do them solo without my co-host Chris. Once again, as you can see, I'm solo, and I normally talk about album reviews that we're probably not going to talk about on the main program. Do a quick review, a quick couple thoughts, and favorite songs off that album. But this time I'm going to do things a little different. We're going to talk a little bit more about the last program, which was an overview of Christian rock and metal, called it 101. It was kind of an intro to the music for those who don't know anything about it. I'm sure most of you listening probably know lots about it, lots about the bands. But for those who may be new and are just exploring this, I know on Facebook there's always lots of people asking about, well, I'm just getting into this genre of Christian rock. What bands should I listen to? If I listen to this band or that band, or if I like these bands, who else should I listen to? So we're going to kind of talk about that. On the main program, we talked a lot about favorite songs and songs that we grew up listening to, songs that we liked, type of thing, songs that got us through tough times. We had a nice lengthy chat. It actually went longer than I was expecting it to go. And we didn't really have time to talk about the essential bands. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about the essential bands that pretty much everybody listens to who listens to Christian rock or metal. There's a ton of them out there. Like so, I've got a whole page of possible bands that people can listen to, and I'm sure there's even a few out there that I don't even know about. But I made 3 lists. I made a list of my top bands which are include a few classic bands as well as a couple of new bands. List of bands I figured people should know about. I did a poll on Facebook there asking everybody the same question. What are the bands that everybody should know about? And came up with top 10 results from that poll. Someone else on Facebook had kind of asked the same question to AI and used Chat GPT to come up with the essential bands and recommended albums. Now the AI did a top 20 list and I narrowed it down to top 10. And I've taken a couple bands off the top 10 and moved a couple of others that did not make the top 10 into the top 10 because I feel they deserve to be there. According to AI, they weren't in the top 10, but they were in the top 20. And I'm going to kind of talk about all 3 lists together because there's a lot of overlap and we'll see kind of where they line up, where bands line up. So on the polled list, number 10 was White Cross. They're a band that we talk about quite a bit on here. Grew up listening to and loving. Both Chris and I love White Cross. I would say an essential album from them would be Triumph and Return, but also check out the brand new one that they've had, well, out about a year ago now, I guess, called Fear No Evil. We've also done an interview with Rex Curl and Dave Roberts from White Cross. So check out that if you haven't heard that interview. And hoping we can get Rex Curl on some more on the program. All right, according to AI, the number 10 band is Bride. And we've talked quite a bit about Bride as well. We've done an interview with Dale Thompson from Bride, so check out that one if you want. Now, AI figures the album to listen to from Bride would be early stuff like Live to Die. I would think something a little bit later, but still kind of early for them, like Connect Faith or more like Snakes in the Playground. That seems to be the album that everybody listens to, likes, is the favorite. Definitely one of my favorites from them. And the album that got me into Bride or introduced me to Bride. We've also done a whole episode on that record. So if you want to check out that one, go ahead. All right. On the polled list now, number 8 and 9 were tied. So since we just talked about them, I'll make number 9 on the poll list be Bride. So polled was a little bit higher than what the AI list is. And coming in at number 8, then before we get to 8 there, let's talk about 9 on the AI list, which is X Sinner. A band very much compared to AC/DC. They've got the 3-chord progression, kind of blues-based sounding rock like AC/DC. They definitely got the raspy vocals that AC/DC uses. That's really where the comparison there, I think, comes in. A lot of people also think their first album there has a lot of Def Leppard influences. If you're talking like early Def Leppard, like On Through the Night or High and Dry, yeah, some of those influences on that too. And according to AI, the recommended album for them is Get It. Get It was their first album released. Definitely the crunchiest, I'd say. Good stuff. Number 8 on the poll list is a band called Demon Hunter. We've talked a little bit about them. I know I mentioned them in the last episode. My thoughts on them: kind of a strange sound, very unique sound of a band. And that's about it. I know a few songs from Demon Hunter, not a lot. I mean, listen to them, trying to get into them, and that's my thoughts on that. Number 8 for the AI list is Leviticus with recommended album Nights of Heaven. I'd go with that. I kind of got into Leviticus there as we're talking about some the history of Christian rock and metal and a couple of the bands from Sweden. Nights of Heaven, I believe, is the third album of theirs, and I ended up getting that myself. It's actually a pretty good album. Got it recently. I not no, I haven't done an album review on that one. We'll probably get to around to that sometime. Now, coming in on my list, I started my list at number 8, and my list at number 8 is the band Rez, also known as Rez Band, Resurrection, or the Resurrection Band. They started out as Resurrection Band and then slowly shortened their name over the years to eventually become just Rez. They are led by husband and wife team Glenn and Wendy Kaiser, both sharing the vocal duties. Glenn also does some of the guitar work. Great blues based hard rock band that got their start, well, formed in the early 70s. Their first album came out in the late 70s. Very much a hard rock 70s Zeppelin type of sound as far as music wise. Great band worth checking out. All right. And now we're on to number 7. Out of the poll list, we have the band Theocracy. A great band, new on the scene. They've got about 5 albums out. Not sure exactly when the first one came out. Led by Matt Smith on vocals. Great vocals. Great fast paced metal music. A lot of speed metal in that one. And I think, oh yes, we did an episode about them all, talking about our favorite songs of those. So check out Theocracy. The AI list had the band Saint, a great band. over the last couple of years slowly begin into. Really like them. They've been around 40 years. AI recommends the album Time's End, which I could agree with that. It's their second album. I know we talked about that as we're talking about favorite songs on the last episode. Saint sounds very much like a Judas Priest. They make no bones about it. They actually try and sound like Judas Priest. The vocals aren't the same as Priest's, but musically definitely they're there. And Times End is definitely a fan favorite album of theirs. At 7, I put on the band Disciple. Uh, Not one of my favorite bands. I probably could have switched that around with Rez, but I know Disciple is a sort of newer band compared to the bands that we normally talk about. Got their start, I believe, in the 90s sometime. So they've been around a while. We like talking about bands from the 80s, but we do talk about other bands as well. And I know I do like some stuff from Disciple. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but I do know that they are a popular band, lots of fans. All right, so now we're down to 6. On the poll list, we have Thousand Foot Crutch. Here's a band that I'm just kind of getting into. Haven't heard a lot from them yet. I like what I've heard so far, though. I've been checking them out after a kind of a recommendation type of thing. One of our guests on the program there said they were his favorite band, and I thought, well, if people are talking about Thousand Foot Crutch, maybe I should check them out and find out what's so exciting about them. Definitely a good band. I would rate them on my personal list. I think I would rate them higher than Disciple, although I don't have them on my own list. Number 6 for the AI list is the band Guardian. Great band. Uh, Came out in the 80s, led by Jamie Rowe on vocals. AI recommends the album Fire and Love, which is a great album too. My favorite from Guardian is Miracle Mile. We've done a episode on that album. So go ahead and check out that if you would like. All right, and we're 6 on my list is the band Skillet. Skillet again, another band that got start in the 90s. I think they've been around a little bit longer than Disciple. Both those bands kind of have a similar sound, similar playing style, similar vocal style. Again, here's another band that's got lots of fans, a big fan base. And I like a few of their songs. Haven't gone into them a whole lot myself, though. So now we're number 5. And on the polled list, this is where Skillet came in on the polled list. So we just talked about them. So now we'll move on to the AI list. Number 5 there is Holy Soldier with their self-titled debut album. Came out in 1990. That's the recommended album according to Chat GPT. And it's hard to disagree with that. Holy Soldier is a great band, especially if you like that hair metal sound, the hair metal scene. As far as that sound goes, I would say that was a musical masterpiece. And I know songs from that album keep coming up in discussion all the time on our program. I love those guys. Holy Soldier. Number 5 on my list. This is where I had Saint. As I said, I was just getting into them, but more and more that I listen to them, the more and more I am liking them. So now we're down to number 4. This is where Rez came in on the poll list. So we've already talked about Rez. On the AI list, the at number 4, we have the band Barren Cross and the recommended album Atomic Arena. Barren Cross, for those who don't know, is led by Michael Drive on vocals, whose vocals tone and style was very similar to Bruce Dickinson. So they end up getting lumped in or compared to an Iron Maiden type band. I don't know if they're exactly like Iron Maiden. They do have moments where they sound like Iron Maiden, other moments where I guess they don't. Right, and number 4 on my list. This is where I put the band Bride. Like I said, one of my favorite bands. Definitely, I'd say a top 5 band. So they came in at number 4 for me. On the poll list now for number 3, this is where Disciple came in. So that kind of shows something about Disciple and how many fans they've got. That on the poll list they end up at number 3. On the AI list, this is where White Cross comes in at number 3, and they recommend the album Triumphant Return. We've already talked about that. Very good choice. I think AI got it right there. In fact, on my top list, I definitely agree with the AI list. This is where I had White Cross as well at number 3. At number 2 on the poll list, we have the band Petra, band that's been around over 50 years. Well, a couple years ago, they just finished their 50th anniversary / farewell tour. This is also where I had Petra on my list. It was at number 2. Great band. They've had a couple vocals over the years. They started out, first of all, with the vocals being shared on the first album or 2 albums between a couple members. Then they got a regular vocalist under Greg X Volt. And then in the 90s, he left the band and John Schlitt comes in to carry on with vocals. They were very much an AOR type sounding band. Heavy guitars, keyboards, great stuff. If I'd recommend an album from them, I'd probably recommend Beyond Belief. Seems to be one of the favorites. Also, On Fire or This Means War. All great albums. So yeah, on my list, like I said, I agree with the poll list. Petra number 2. The AI list has the band Bloodgood. Great heavy band. Great vocalist under Les Carlson. They've had a few guitarists over the years. And Michael Bloodgood on bass. Kind of the core of the band. AI recommends the album Detonation, which seems to be definitely the fan favorite album. I would probably go with something else, but that's me. And then at number 1, no surprise for those who've been listening to the program, what my number 1 band list is. Not only is it my number 1, it ends up being the number 1 for the poll and for the AI. So the number 1 band to listen to under Christian rock and metal is Striper. Really hard to argue with that. The number of fans that they've got, the number of albums they've sold over the years. Band that's been around over 40 years, continues to go strong, led by Michael Sweet on vocals and guitar, Oz Fox on guitar, Robert Sweet on drums. They started out with I can't remember. Oh, Tim Gaines on bass. They now have Perry Richardson on bass. And if you're talking the must-have album from Striper, it's easily going to be To Hell with the Devil. One of the most popular albums of theirs, especially in the classic lineup. Their newer stuff is definitely worth checking out as well, though, just as strong as their classics. And yeah, so that's our list. And that's it for this quick little bonus episode. We'll see you next time.